Hey, deserving listeners, Jorge and Anfisa. Let's watch.
Why do you have to act like this? What's your reason of acting like the way you're acting right now?
I'm dumb.
Can you just get over it already?
No, I cannot get over it.
I don't know what's happening, but he turns to her and seems to be picking up some kind of demeanor difference, negativity from her, and says, what's going on? And she says, you're dumb. He says, can you get over it? No, I cannot get over it. So maybe there's a justification for her being in a bad mood. Let's see what happens.
What? But why? You're just making it worse.
You're making it worse. Always blame me.
I put everything on hold for Anfisa, and it's frustrating that she won't cut me some slack.
So I'm still obviously unclear as to what the basis of this argument is about. Maybe we'll find out.
Sometimes Anfisa acts like a 4-year-old. Maybe I can distract her with something sweet.
So there's that infantilizing language that I've been commenting on, treating her like a child, and her also acting, I mean, I don't want to say childish in a derogatory sense, but there was that scene where she was in a bad mood because his car wouldn't accommodate her luggage, and she was, pouting, and he said, do you want to go shopping now? As a way of trying to, the way you would with a child. Hey, would you like a candy bar? And she says, no. And then she says, yeah, actually, And so they both play into this very strange dynamic where he childizes her and she childizes herself, but then she's like an abusive child in a way. I mean, I don't want to say abusive, but he is always trying to please her in a way that a desperate parent is trying to please someone, like, okay, don't be in a bad mood, don't be in a bad mood. And then it's just like, whumph, and like, well, buy me things. I mean, I'm exaggerating. I'm not mocking. I'm just trying to accentuate what the dynamic, because it's such an interesting, we've seen dynamics in this direction before, but I don't think in this way. But anyway, so he says she's in a bad mood, and then he's going to get her something sweet to cheer her up. Okay.
Size of portions of food, it's bigger here. Looks like yours?
You want to try it?
No. Looks terrible. You don't take care of me. You don't feed me. You don't do nothing.
Yes, yeah. I do.
I'm very confused by their arguments because, of course, how would I know every detail about their life? But usually on this show, they give us enough information to go off of, not all the time, but often, where I can say, oh, I think I know the landscape. She's in a bad mood. I think he doesn't know why she's in a bad mood. They get a donut. She's being negative about it. And then she says, you don't do anything for me. You don't feed me. And he's like, what are you talking about? So does he not feed her? And, I don't know. Let's see.
Last night it was late and I went out and got you what you wanted.
So? It's normal. It's not something you should be proud of.
Okay, so it sounds like last night she wanted particular food. He left the house, got it, and he's saying, I did that. And she's saying, well, why are you even pointing that out? That should be what you should do. So are we looking at it? We saw this with another couple, did we not? Was it Jovi and Yara or Mike and Natalie or someone, where the American didn't prepare anything, just sort of like, well, we're here now, and didn't ask, like, what kind of food do you want, that kind of stuff. So are we looking at that situation, or are we looking at a situation where she's just choosing to be negative about something? Are we looking at a situation where she's legit in a bad mood for a different reason and just taking it out on him in this way? I don't know. I'm just kind of lost.
Okay.
What about apartment hunting?
I can get some stuff done in the morning.
Husband should work and provide for his family, and the wife should stay at home and take care of the house and kids.
If they want, certainly. But one, that's heteronormative. So what about two husbands or two wives? Two, certainly you can have different configurations. If that's what you want to do, Anfisa and George, then 100%, but that's not universal for husbands and wives.
Are you taking care of me?
I'm trying my best. So you're not mad at me?
I'm not gonna deal with it for much longer. George should find us a place or I'm leaving.
So, okay, I get it that she doesn't want to live in a hotel. I think he makes enough money to pay for everything, but okay, you have that request. Makes sense. I think a lot of people would feel that way. And to say, well, if you don't do it soon, I'm going to leave you. We see this behavior in some, think Hamza in Memphis, where there's this ever-present threat of, if you don't do what I say, this relationship is over. And, one, I don't recommend anyone do that because it can be extremely hurtful. Hey, take out the garbage or else I'm going to divorce you. I'm exaggerating for effect, but it's essentially that. It's like, fine, you want to make a request of me, that's great, but why do you have to threaten to leave me? Are you that close to leaving me? Because if you are, I don't want to be with you.
That's what my mom told me right before I came to America. I live with my grandmother. I don't really do any chores. I don't cook or clean. Grandma does all that.
But you told me you wanted.
There's nothing wrong with living with your grandma, and your grandma does a lot of things, particularly if you're working all the time. Did she work in Russia? I don't know. I'm guessing she did. But just putting all the data points together, I don't know, there's signs that there's something going on in her family. I mean, she has a particular personality. So does he. And I'm just trying to figure out where that personality came from. And one hypothesis, of course, I have almost no data to even go down this road, but that she comes from so it sounds like she was saying, my mom was trying to make me do this, so I moved in with my grandma, and then my grandma didn't make me do those things. And I don't know, I'm sort of inferring a lot here. And then I was spoiled by my grandma, and I believe I'm entitled to not have to do anything. So she's saying she wants expensive things, she wants expensive homes, she wants, so it's just, now, why do people do that? As adults, we typically have a variety of wants, including respect, mutual love, attachment safety. So even if we would like to get away with not having to do the chores for some of us, we wouldn't risk that because we wouldn't want to impose on someone else. So what would limit someone's ability to have that empathy and that desire for mutual respect and self-respect, really? I don't know. Something went wrong, though, if that's the case. But I don't know if I'm reading her personality right. I don't know what I'm seeing at this point. I'm actually pretty confused by her.
To cook the
I want to try, but don't pressure me.
I'm sorry, okay? You don't have to cook. I personally think that the wife should take care of the home and take care of the family, while the husband goes and works.
Okay, she literally just said that too. So you two completely agree on that. I mean, she said, I think the husband should work and provide, and the wife should stay home with the kids and do the housework. And so he's repeating that. It's fine if you agree on that. To say the husband should and the wife should is one of the most sexist things you can do to all genders. It's like, why? Like, inherently a decree from above that men are supposed to do this and women are supposed to do that. It's like, no, humans can do a lot of things. Humans can make arrangements. Humans can change over time. Humans can do all the things or none of the things. Humans are entitled to make choices. Like, if there's nothing, it just, okay, just say, there's nothing wrong with saying, I would like to be in a relationship in which I work and she does not and stays home with the kids. And I am looking for someone that also wants that. So I'm upfront about that. But certainly not everyone should live their life the way I want to live my life? I mean, why would you impose your weird, narrow limitations on literally every human on the planet? It's just like, now, they're not strange in this way, of course. There's a lot of people who hold that value, but it really gets under my skin. I mean, one of the things that I think about when I think about this issue is when I was young, maybe a teenager, my Thanksgiving with my family is this big affair, is, you know, cousins and aunties and uncles and grandparents and everyone, siblings, and everyone would often come over to our house, my family's house. And I noticed over time that the living room would be all men watching football, and the kitchen would be all women cooking and socializing and having fun. And I found that I kind of liked being in the kitchen because they had better conversations. Like, I love football and I watch football. I played football growing up. So I like my male family members as well. And the conversations can be good there too, obviously. But I just found the kitchen it was more lively. And so I found myself just in the kitchen often at Thanksgiving and other kind of family gatherings. And then all of a sudden it just occurred to me, like, wait, I'm the only guy. And then I would look in the living room and be like, there's no women in the living room right now, even though some of the women in the kitchen aren't doing anything. And I was just like, what is happening right now? You know, it's this realization, this conscious realization of society and gender roles. And as a minor myself, as a teen or something, a younger person, I'm seeing this, and I'm the sort of person, I've always been this way, where I don't want to be pigeonholed. I don't want society or some weird unspoken rule dictating what I do. I'll actively resist it. In that moment, I was like, well, I'm just going to be in the kitchen because I don't like this rule. We should all question the boxes that society has put us in regarding our various different identities, gender being a significant one often for us. And I celebrate the queer movement and the trans movement that throws all of that out the window or plays with it in various different ways. I love that. I just think it's like, yes, thank you. This binary of men are this and women are that. It's just like, there's 7.5 billion people on the planet. Literally half the planet is this and half the planet is that. No, we have options, and we can dress how we want to dress, and we can go into the kitchen where the women are. If we're a guy, we can go into the kitchen, and that's okay. It's about us having needs and asserting those needs. Why do we have to only assert our needs in one set of behaviors? It's extremely damaging. So many things, so many bad things have happened because of that limitation. So anyway, that's my rant on that.
Provides.
You told me you'd be okay with a club sandwich.
Okay. Yeah, I'm okay with a sandwich.
Yeah, give me a club sandwich every day. I love a good club sandwich. When I go to restaurants, I see the club sandwich. You know, it's not always this way, but it's triple decker with bacon and turkey and mayo and mustard and tomatoes, like toasted with some fries on the side every day. Just another detail about in college. I don't know why college keeps coming up. I would eat sandwiches so often that my roommates, my friends, would make fun of me and say I'm gonna get sandwich cancer because I'm eating too many sandwiches. Does that joke make sense to people? Anyway, it was funny back then. Hey, deserving listeners, as you all know, I am constantly recommending that people go to therapy. We all need therapy from time to time. Well, one of the options available that is definitely worth checking out is BetterHelp. If you're looking for a therapist, I would give it a try by going to betterhelp.com/Kirk. Make sure you use the promo code Kirk because you get 10% off your first month, and it really helps us out. As you watch these videos, I know many of you have been motivated to find your own therapist, which is great because you deserve it. And I know also that it can be hard to find a good fit, find the right one for you. Well, one of the options available in terms of your shopping is to go to betterhelp.com/Kirk. I've been told you can start communicating with your therapist in under 24 hours. You can message your counselor at any time. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions. I've also been told that it's often less expensive than in-person therapy, and you should know that this service is available to clients worldwide. So go to betterhelp.com/Kirk to get 10% off your first month today.
Is it boiling yet or not? How do you know?
You don't know when the water boils. So you see those bubbles? When the water boils, they start to race to the top.
Okay.
And then when it bubbles, then you know it's boiled.
You have something.
See that?
She doesn't know when water is boiling? That's surprising. I mean, even if you weren't someone who spent time in the kitchen at all, the definition of boil, I mean, how, that's it. So if we go with the fact that with the possibility she didn't know what boiling water was, then that would be an indication of a whole other set of things we would want to know about her if we were to look at this relationship in an accurate way. Some sort of IQ issue, some sort of abuse, like she was left in a bedroom to not see boiling water. I don't know. Or she's just acting that way for the show because that's a bit on the show, or she's trying to come across as if she doesn't know things because she doesn't want to be expected to do things in the kitchen. You know, it's a classic passive-aggressive move is that, well, he wants me to be a good cook, so I'm just going to be a very terrible cook, and then he'll just cook for me.
Humanity.
Wow. You know, obviously, I don't have $20,000 in cash right now.
So it's not my problem.
So it's not your problem?
Wow. I don't understand why these two are together, honestly. It's just, there's certain couples on this show where I'm like, do you even like each other? You're not, do you see any compatibility? I mean, the way they treat each other, particularly the way she treats him. So they're buying wedding dresses. For a lot of people, it's this fun, romantic time. And he's worried that she's going to want the most expensive dress, which is $45,000 for a dress that you wear once. Maybe you can take it back, get some money back for it. I don't know. But my goodness. I mean, you know, I guess rich people are going to rich, but I don't think he's that rich, right? Maybe he is. I don't think so. Anyway, he just says, I don't have $20,000 in cash right now. So I think that implies I do have credit card room, and she wants to get the $45,000 dress. And he's saying, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't afford that right now. She says, that's not my problem. What does that even mean? Like, I don't, it kind of is your problem because you're a couple, and two, whatever debt he has, you have, and three, if he can't afford it, the two of you can't afford it. It's your wedding, you know? Her attitude is just so boggling to me.
And I kind of like that. I kind of like her firmness of, you know, her standing her ground, but I'll also stand my ground too. So, you know, that's where conflict comes into play.
Then why did we even started getting this visa? Why did you bring me here if you're not ready?
It's not that I'm not ready, but...
You're not ready.
So I'm confused as well. He's saying he likes bossy. He likes her. He's saying she's bossy, and I kind of like that sometimes. But earlier he was saying that feminism ruined American women. So I don't understand. Of course, feminism doesn't mean that someone is bossy. It just means that someone recognizes that there is sexism and bias and prejudice and oppression in a society. That's all that it means, which is scientifically accurate. But anyway, so... I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. It's interesting because, anyway, I won't go down that road. But there's so many other ways to talk about this. Like, he could say, hey, honey, okay, I do have that room on my credit card, but realize that if we buy a $45,000 dress with my credit cards, I'll be maxed out on my credit cards. I'll have no cash left, which means that we have to budget severely. If you're really set on that dress, the other thing that she could be saying is, well, I really want that dress, so let's sit down with the budget and but you know, they never do that on the show. It's always like, begging the man for the money while he says, I can't afford that ridiculous thing, and then her saying, you don't really love me, which if I were, I don't know, if I were there, I'd just be like, we've got to start from the beginning here. Like, there is so much work to be done.
It's not that I'm not ready. I'm just saying that it's like,
can you just be straightforward and not like, oh, yes and no?
yeah, I am straightforward. All right, so the straightforward part is that you want expensive things and...
Yeah, I mean, I think he's not being straightforward because he's terrified of her punishing him emotionally and maybe leaving him if he is direct and saying, I can't buy that for you. I think there's a number of possibilities here. Either he does have the room on his credit cards, which would kind of be surprising, but if he did, he's like, well, I don't want to go into debt and pay, 20% interest on a $45,000 dress, even though there was a $5,000 dress, which is still astronomical when you think about it. That looked good. But so anyway, I'm guessing he is worried that she's going to punish him. So he's like hoping that if he just gives her signals, she'll change her mind. And if I just saw this scene, it would look to me as if he has been emotionally abused over time. But I don't know if that's really what's happening. What do you think?
It's, hard for me to keep up.
That's all you can say? It's always nice talking to you.
I think maybe she has a legit complaint if she were to word it differently, that he is wishy-washy in his language, but I think he does that because he's terrified of her. But I think she might have a legitimate complaint of just be like, can you just be direct? Either say yes or no, or here's how we can make it work. I think that's kind of what she's trying to say in a very insulting, disrespectful way.
To keep up.
That's all you can say? It's always nice talking to you. Somebody as smart as me.
It's not all that I can say. I'm just saying that.
So there are times when I think she's playing and she's trying to make a joke, like she's frustrated but also making a joke, and she has a very blank face when she's doing it that I think it looks like she's being serious, but you see a little bit of a smirk. I don't know if the smirk is, I'm joking with you, I'm trying to lighten the mood, or I'm smirking because I'm actually being hostile towards you and I get pleasure from that. Or the cameras are there, I don't know.
Everything.
Blah, blah, blah. That's what I hear.
I'm not that wealthy to compensate for all of the things that you like that are really expensive that you want right now.
All those things.
No, I mean, eventually I can get them, but you want everything today.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand how, if you're Anfisa, you don't say something like, yeah, okay, I understand the limitations of your bank account, that you're not a billionaire, you're not Jeff Bezos, and so we have to budget. And are you saying that we can't afford that dress? Because if so, then okay. I don't understand why she just doesn't, he's offering all that information up and she's just like, it's not my problem. And I don't know what her strategy is, because there's only so much juice you can squeeze out of that lemon. You know what I mean? Does she think, well, if I pressure him, he'll come up with the money somehow, out of thin air?
I mean, today I told...
you wanted today.
Oh, I didn't know.
Why can't you...
Okay, that was a little concerning. So in the middle of him pleading and being nice, he's not being super straightforward, but there's nothing wrong with what he's saying. He's like, I just don't know if I can afford that thing. He's trying to signal to you, could you please pick something that I can afford that you love, because I want you to be happy. He's essentially saying that. And then she's getting frustrated, and then she hit him. Not hard, of course. He barely felt it, I'm sure. But there was let's rewind that. But that's concerning, because when people do that, it's often the tip of the iceberg. You see it in the moment, you're just like, well, it's just a little love tap. And we use the show as a jumping off point. If you ever are dating someone and they do something, you have to look at the intent. If someone's just like, oh, but if someone is frustrated, and because it's almost like it's an automatic response of I'm frustrated, boom, and of course you're in the beginning of the relationship, you're on camera, you're in a public space, so you're not going to go full on slap. And maybe I'm just reading into it, and maybe this literally never happens again, but I would be concerned about this behavior. Let's rewind.
To like compensate for all of the things that you like, that are really expensive, that you want, like right now.
All those things.
No, I mean, eventually I can get them, but you want everything like today.
I mean, today I told.
Like you want it today.
Oh, I didn't know.
Why can't you?
So it's frustration, it's anger. There's a upwelling of anger and frustration, and then a strike. Again, I don't think he was hurt by that, but that impulse is extremely concerning to me. And given all the other things we've seen from her, I'm starting to really worry about this couple. And I'm wondering if y'all wanted me to watch this because it gets ugly, like it does with Angela and Michael or something, which is going to be hard to watch. We've seen up at this point her putting him down, insults, control, threats of I'm going to leave, a very blank face, seemingly no remorse. I mean, maybe I'm reading into it, and maybe we'll see some vulnerability from her at some point, but I'm pretty worried about, and the fact that the way he comes across, because of course we know a lot of their relationship, most of their relationship occurs off camera, that he can't really be straight with her because he's afraid of, I think, what her response will be.
When he tells me that he can't really afford these expensive things now, I feel like he's breaking promises that he gave me before I arrived.
Okay, so if that's true, I guess, but my impression of the promises was that he would get her everything, but I'm guessing he knew she didn't interpret that as literally everything. Like, 15 Lamborghinis or something. I'm pretty sure he was hoping that she interpreted that like, with all of my power and all my means, I will give you everything, but understand that there are limits because I'm not a billionaire. So, one could argue, okay, maybe he misled her, but so what? Like, you need a certain level of functionality in life, shelter, food, health care, this sort of thing. Is it a necessity that you have a $45,000 dress? I mean, the dresses that I saw, I'm surprised they were all over $5,000. Like, that's a nice dress. $5,000 for that? Like, what? Is it made out of gold? Like, golly. Anyway, I'm sure people out there are laughing at me. But anyway, so, okay, she's saying that, but you would have to be naive to think that given his job and his lifestyle, that him saying, I'll give you everything, that literally meant, ooh, I'm going to be able to have everything. Like, as if he just has a money press that just is I don't understand why she would, but I don't know, maybe I could be convinced if she gives more detail that he completely deceived her. But even so, let's imagine that your partner that you meet gives the impression that they have millions of dollars, and then as you start to date them, and fall in love with them, and you enjoy them as a human being, discover that they're not that rich. Would you be like, well, the deal's off? I mean, wouldn't you just be like, oh, well, okay, I have to kind of rework my mindset on this, but I love you because I want to be with you as a human being. So it's, I mean, there's just so many data points. Like, at the same time, I think she legitimately likes him. There are scenes where it seems there's legit affection that she has towards him. So I think this is actually just part of her personality. Because, the temptation is to say, oh, she's just playing him for money. She just wants the green card. She just wants the money. But if that were true, I think she would have sought a different person. She would have tried to get with an actual millionaire. I think there are websites out there where you can actually make those arrangements. So I think she actually likes him. I think she actually might even love him. But a part of her personality is this, I don't know how to describe it. It's a naive sense of finances, a sense of self-entitlement, a lack of remorse when it comes to punishing him, a tendency towards threats of leaving him, finding someone that will be a kind of puppy dog to her in that way, so that she could have control over that. And why do people do that? Well, often I find when I work with people like this, it's because they are desperate for attachment and they don't believe they can get it through normal ways. And so they feel like they have to establish control in order to get their attachment needs met. It doesn't justify it, of course, but it does explain it.
Part of me even wants to go back to Russia.
Because he can't buy you a $45,000 dress. If that's true, you probably should, because I think you're going to run into that issue a lot. And if your love is that fragile, then I mean, does this couple end up together? I sort of looked ahead and saw how many episodes there were of the Jorge and Anfisa story, and there's a lot of episodes. So are they still together? Because I don't know. We'll find out, but I just can't imagine it, but who knows? All right, well, that does it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.